possession.
Right, now, there's a box under the desk, David. First of all, pop the item onto the desk. Once you've done that, would you please read the card?
OK. This is my penguin. When I used him to play a prank, it got out of hand.
Wow.
So what's the story, David? What happened?
Well, this is a penguin that must have come out of a cracker. And I put him in the garden, sort of hiding him, and took a picture in order to pretend that I had spotted a wren.
To pretend to who?
To my wife. That was my aim.
And what did she say?
She took it at face value.
How old is your wife?
Why were you pretending that you'd seen a bird in the garden?
It was a rainy weekend day, and it was the day where people are invited to count garden birds.
A big garden bird watch.
Is that what it's called?
Yes,
that sounds
indeed.
like a very good name for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of birds, aren't you, Pam? Does that look anything like a wren?
It does not remotely resemble a wren, because a wren is a little brown bird, quite a boring little bird with a sticky-up tail, whereas that is a plastic penguin with a white bib and a key sticking out of its back.
It was a poor photograph. It was a grainy...
Was it deliberately poor?
Yes. I didn't really expect to be believed. I don't think...
Oh, good, because we don't believe you.
I don't think my wife looked very carefully at the picture.
Did she just glance quickly?
Yeah.
And then what was her reaction?
Her reaction was that she sent it to the street WhatsApp group.
Oh,
no. Are you quite a prankster around the house?
Not usually, but I have occasionally attempted to amuse.
Well, never in my presence. Well, what do you think, Kyle?
I'm going to say true.
You say true?
Yeah.
And what about you, Pam?
Yeah, I think it's the sort of thing somebody would do for a laugh.
And you think that Victoria Coren Mitchell, one of the most erudite, sharp brains around...
Would marry him?
Would marry him.
But a lot of people aren't interested in birds and cannot distinguish one from the other.
All right, your team seem to be saying true.
Well, if my team think it's true, then who am I to disagree with them? OK,
they say it's true. David, was that true, or was it a lie?
It was, in fact, true.
Oh,
true. David really did prank his wife with a plastic penguin.
I once got so drunk, I whipped out my laptop, thought, what the hell, and ordered myself a Latin phrase book.
Please, team.
What sort of... But a Latin phrase book feels like quite an unusual thing. When would you use a Latin phrase?
It's actually, strictly, it's called a Latin primer. But it is a book of Latin phrases and Latin grammar.
But nothing had happened in the previous years where this was a problem. You were fine without your Latin.
Well, I had a, very awkward dinner with a centurion, but, No, it wasn't like... Yeah, I hadn't particularly felt that gap, but I was...
Give us some of your favourite Latin phrases.
I can't
You must know one
Latin.
or two, a man of your learning.
Veni, vidi, vici.
What does that
Veni,
mean?
vidi, wiki.
Yes.
Depending on how you pronounce it.
What does it mean? I came, I saw...
I conquered. Quod erat demonstrandum.
What I have just demonstrated. Yeah,
Yeah,
I went to a comprehensive. I know all of these phrases, David.
Is there any modern practical phrases, like, where is the station?
No, and if you think about it, you'll know why.
How did you get on with Latin when you were at school?
No, we didn't do Latin, no.
You'd need a primer, wouldn't you? You'd need a phrase.
We had loads of that in the shed.
Tom, what are you thinking?
The idea of buying a textbook for a language that is no longer spoken for somebody who works in an environment where that language isn't used, which was taught to him at school several years ago, that he had to get drunk to buy, is exactly the sort of thing that David Mitchell would do.
You're going to say it's true, Lee?
Definitely.
You think it's true? They all think it's true.
No.
Right.
Oh, it's true.
Oh.
David.
Yeah. Of course it's true.
Yes, it's true. David did drunkenly order himself a Latin phrase book.
Last month, I had a frightening dream in which I was locked in the stocks of a medieval town. When I awoke, I was disturbed to discover that my arms were through the leg holes of my pajama bottom.
Please, T.
How?
I'm not demonstrating again, no. So you mean not only through the top of the pyjama bottom, but right the way through, showing at the end of the leg hole?
Yes. I was wearing them, as it were, twice.
Tell us about the dream itself.
It's impressions. I remember the...
Give us those.
The smell of manure.
Oh, David, not again.
I could hear horses clattering around, you know, clip-clopping.
What was the crime you'd committed?
I don't know what the crime was.
You don't know the crime?
I don't know. All I remember, and you'll be familiar with this, is a deep sense of shame. and being dragged along,
yes.
And I was a sort of figure of shame, and things were being thrown at me, cabbages, that sort of thing. And then I was put in roughly, by which I mean unpleasantly, not approximately, put in the village stocks, yeah.
You must have had quite a wide-legged trouser to get your arms down.
I'll be completely honest. My trousers had gone down a bit.
By that point, then, your genitals are effectively sort of trapped in a hinge created by your stomach and your insides.
Well, that's
probably why you were screaming.
That's the only way I can get to sleep. No, my trousers had gone down to the knees.
Right.
And my arms were through the trouser legs.
Do you really call them pyjama trousers?
I suspect I've used both terms.
Do you call it a pyjama jacket, the top bit?
No.
That's pyjama top.
I actually, to be honest, I call the whole thing a night uniform.
All right, what do you think, Liz? Is David telling the truth?
It's the pyjama bit I don't believe.
You don't believe he wears pyjamas in bed? Oh, that is the only bit I do believe.
No, because I think he wears a nightshirt.
Yes, good point.
I'm not inclined to believe it.
Right, OK. Well, say it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
I think it's a lie.
David, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
Well, I was telling a lie. Victoria doesn't know this. But on those very rare occasions that she does something I find irritating, I get my own back by sneaking upstairs and moving her bookmarks.
Please, T.
When you say Victoria doesn't know this, surely when she goes to the book to read the book and she goes where the bookmark is, there must be lots of instances where she's thinking, am I losing my mind? I'm not following this book. Or
yes, that's exactly what she thinks.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Victoria, when you're reading a book, do you ever sometimes have that feeling of being lost? Do you ever have a feeling...
I have sometimes opened a book and thought, I didn't think that's where I was.
How many books are you reading at the same time?
I mean, 7 or 8.
David, how many books does Victoria read at the same time?
Oh, I'd put it between 6 and 9.
And do they tend to be fiction, non-fiction?
Yes, those are the main two.
And what are the things you said, sometimes rare occasions, Victoria does something that...
I don't want to go into that.
No, I mean, far away.
No, I don't want to go into that.
What sort of things are we talking about?
No, just behavioural things. just the simplest things to do with things she said or done. That's
Maybe when I ask you what the weather's going to be like, and I go, what do you think it's going to be? And you go, I don't think anything. I've looked at the weather forecast, and what it says is this.
Little things like, yes. Essentially, she holds me responsible for the weather forecast, as if I've made it.
No, she doesn't. She says, what do you think the weather's going to do? Perfectly reasonable.
It's not perfectly reasonable.
What?
She's got access to the weather forecast on her own phone. It's just, these are meteorologists. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. I'm just reading it out.
They are physically sitting further apart, have you noticed?
Is there anything, Victoria, that you might do to David if he'd annoyed you? What would your retaliation be if, indeed, he is moving...
Well, he might find out.
Incidentally, I've been feeling weaker and weaker over the...
OK, what are you going to say?
I believe in their relationship. I must be just the most naive person here because I want
invested in it.
I am. I'm emotionally invested in their relationship, and I do think David's a nice guy, and I don't think he would do that because that really would upset her.
So what we're saying is, if it's true, it's a really unpleasant thing and a really bad indictment on their marriage.
Yes.
Well, this has taken a nasty turn, hasn't it?
What's it going to be?
I don't want it to be true, but...
Oh, I do.
You think it's...
I want his life to fall apart. This would be such fun.
I think it's true. I don't want it to be true. I'm trying to, you know, see the real person. I think he's a nice guy.
No, the David I know, I don't think this is unpleasant enough.
Well, you know him way more
Yeah, but
than
also,
we know.
David doesn't like you. He will not. So it's a different relationship.
That's true, yeah. But he doesn't hate me, right?
No. Even though, Lee, you on television have said you want my marriage to fall apart, I still find you an adequate colleague.
Can I ask you a question, David?
Yeah.
Are you still writing for Clinton cards?
It's time to decide. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say true, but I don't want it to be true.
It can't.
Yeah, sorry.
No. It's a lie.
It's got to be a lie because it's an awful, awful thing to do.
It is.
You're saying it's a lie.
I really
Because
hope it's a
nobody
lie.
would do that.
If this is the truth, it's awful.
It really is. They're saying it's a lie. David, is it true or is it a lie?
It is a lie.
David, you're up next.
I've yet to find the courage to make a contactless card payment. I considered it once, but decided that full PIN entry was the safer method.
Please, team, what do you think of that?
What do you fear, David?
Well, it's a security risk, isn't it?
Why is it security risk?
Well, because you don't have to put in your PIN.
The only security that's relevant is that you know it's you. If you know it's fine, contactless and the PIN's the same thing.
But who among us can be sure of who we really are?
Where did you consider using it, David?
I've considered it a few times in a few places, because sometimes people suggest it, which I think's rather forward. You know, they suggest you say, I'm sorry, am I keeping you? You know, you haven't got time for me to enter 4 digits now.
Do you have an Oyster card?
Yes.
Ah, so you're happy with contactless there?
If the Oyster card gave you the option of putting in a PIN, I'd be all for it, but that's never been set up like that. No. And I'm not so weird as to go into Oyster HQ and ask to have a particular high-security Oyster card issued specially for me.
It's very hard to get into Oyster HQ, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to take like a knife and prise it open.
Absolutely. Well, you have to get past Pearl on reception.
Have you ever used it, then? Have you used it once?
I've yet to find the courage, so no.
Would you have a mobile phone?
I have a mobile phone.
Would you ever use Apple Pay? We can't call it that. Orange, well, we can't do it. They're a company as well. Would you ever use Pay?
Would you ever use your mobile phone?
You can, because I sometimes do that. I'm quite happy to get my phone out in M&S, and I feel quite cool. I hold it, and it pays it. Do you want a receipt? No.
No, I've never paid for anything like that.
You've never paid for anything with Apple Pay?
No.
What?
What are you talking about? Have you just got a new phone? Are you starting some new adverts that we don't know about, Rob?
All right, so what do you think?
What do we think?
I'm very scared of it, so I empathise with that, so, yeah, why not?
OK.
It seems so obviously him.
So you've got to go for it true?
I think he fears it, yeah.
OK, you're saying it's true. David, you fear contactless payment, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Oh, he loves it.
I recently shooed a fox out of the garden by squirting it with water. 5 minutes later, I watched in horror as it returned with its brother and ate my plimsoll.
Please, team. What do you think?
I've never heard anything so middle class in all my life.
I want to picture it. So you're in your house and you see the fox in the garden. Now, you don't, with the greatest respect, you don't strike me as overly nimble.
No, I'm not overly naturally nimble, but I'm just nimble enough.
Between 1 and 10, how quickly were you in the garden?
I went out in the garden at top speed for me,
Yeah.
which I'm afraid is now 6.7.
Anyway, you come out into the garden, you've got the hose, you see the fox.
And he sort of moves away a bit, shows a certain degree of fear of the alpha predator. He sees me and he thinks, do you know, I think I'm safe with this guy. And I thought, well, I can't have this. I can't have the fox thinking it's won. If I lose my power to frighten off foxes, what am I?
Can I answer that?
So I grab my hose and I swizzle some water at them. I don't want to soak the poor creature.
Did you put your thumb on the end?
So I did put my thumb on the end, and I directed some water sort of towards the lawn, just kind of between him and me. Yeah. And that's enough. He's off.
I bet he went, after the fox went off, I bet he went.
Yeah.
I forgot he hadn't turned it off. Looked round sheepishly and thought, I better get those plimsolls.
Are you in your pyjamas?
I was wearing normal clothes.
Well, David, we've a different opinion on what normal clothes
Did you? It was black tie, not white tie.
So, in a nutshell, you had a fox in your garden, you come out, water the thing out the garden, then a little while later, it comes back.
2 of them come back.
2 of them.
Now, where are you at this point?
I'm in the kitchen.
Right.
Noticing they've come back to the garden, thinking, dear, oh, dear.
There was deer there as well.
and then one of the foxes goes and grabs this plimsoll that I keep by the shed.
Why?
For walking around the garden.
One plimsoll?
What? No, there's 2. I keep 2.
Tiny suggestion, why don't you keep the plimsolls near the back door so you don't have to get your feet wet if it's raining?
Well, you're full of home improvement ideas. I don't know, because I'm a moron.
What happens to the plimsoll?
One of them savages this shoe.
What's the other one doing?
I don't know. I don't speak fox.
If you want to do a proper impression of a fox, I know a woman. Providing you're a tad gullible, we'll show you exactly. So go on. So
I said, hello, Mr. Fox. I'm trying to communicate with you. Perhaps you could stop pooing on my lawn.
Right, Lee, what are you thinking?
Fundamentally, no Englishman leaves a pair of plimsolls as his garden footwear and keeps them by a shed.
So you're saying it's...
It's a lie.
It's a lie?
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
Well, I'll go with my team, even though I think it's true.
Saying it's a lie. OK, David. Squirting foxes in the garden, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
I thought
so. Yes, it's a lie. David didn't squirt water at a fox only for it to return and eat his plimsoll.
I once sent out 30 professional photographs of myself to try and get an agent. I got just one reply advising me to destroy all copies of the photographs.
David, what pose exactly were you doing in the glossy print?
I mean, I thought a normal, dignified, at the same time hilarious and talented one.
Show me.
Yeah, can you do it?
No, I think what it was...
Do it.
I think maybe in the picture, my mouth looked a bit wrong. You know, maybe it was a bit sort of...
Can I ask why you thought...
Or maybe...
But you didn't bother to change
it wasn't like...
And when was this? What period are we talking about?
It was in the 18th century. In the mid-late 1990s.
What kind of places were you sending them to?
Or did you just leave them in phone boxes around London?
How were you dressed in the photograph? Was it a casual or was it a smarter look that you went for?
I'm guessing
I think
smarter.
It's just in case he was wearing a leisure suit. Maybe it was the late 90s. You
What's
know,
a leisure suit?
Is
that a sort of zip-up thing that you can relieve yourself in?
Yes.
It's what they'll be wearing in the future. It's just so convenient. Just get in and whatever happens, it's fine.
Did this dent your confidence, David?
Yes.
You didn't think I'll just get some more done, but this time without the stovepipe hat and the cravat?
I don't think I immediately got some more done. I mean, I have subsequently had
other photos.
You got your confidence back.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Do you think that could be the truth?
I think it's true.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I think it's true.
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 I think it's true. David, truth or lie?
It is true.
Oh, true. It's true. David did once send out 30 professional photographs, but was advised by an agent to destroy all copies.
On a wall in my flat, there is a mysterious red switch. I have no idea what it does because I have never pressed it and refuse to do so.
Right, mysterious red switches. Lee.
Where's the switch?
It's on the wall. Sort of not directly, but slightly behind the television.
Haven't you just had to be tempted to touch it? See what it does?
It's not that distracting. It's, you know, it's bright red. I'd say it's about maybe 3/4 of an inch or an inch wide.
It sounds like one of those cooker switches, doesn't it?
It's a bit like that sort of switch. It's sort of cocked up in a sort of inviting way that you might want to give a tweak
so it's in an upward position. You'd have to flick it down.
Exactly.
Oh, that's always more scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is your house...
If it were down, I'd assume that whatever it does was happening.
Right, and
I'd be afraid to turn it off.
That would be awful.
I might need it. You know, it might turn the oxygen off.
You've never gone near it? You've never touched it?
Gone near it?
But you've never
I've gone very near it. I don't live in a very large flat. I can't cordon off a whole area of the living room just because of the proximity of a mysterious switch. I need that space.
How long have you been in your flat and ignored this switch?
Well, I've moved into the flat about 11 years ago.
That's a long time to ignore a switch.
But sometimes I do other things. It's not just been solidly ignoring the switch 24 hours a day.
How is your granddad's dialysis machine going at the moment?
So, Lee, what are you going to say? This mysterious switch, is it true?
I started believing it because I thought, yeah, you do have those switches in your house and you don't know what they're for. I've got them.
But you'd have to flick the switch, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd have to
flick the switch.
I would be flicking that switch.
You can't not fiddle, can you? It's there, you've got to play with it.
Yes, well, you know...
I remember seeing an episode of this show when David talked about his bedroom door, didn't have a door handle on it. He had to claw his door open every single time he opened his bedroom door.
Yeah.
So therefore, he's not going to bother about a switch.
No, he lives in a slum,
He's going to leave the...
Yeah,
basically, yes, he does.
He lives in a slum.
So I say it's true.
If they paid proper repeat fees on Dave, it would be different.
So, Lee, what are you going to say? Truth or lie?
Des.
He's telling a lie.
You think he's telling a lie?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I don't think he can ignore that. Look at that intelligent face. Look at that beard now. He does look like a professor.
He hasn't got a bedroom door handle, Des.
How do you know?
How do you know?
Because I've watched...
So, truth or lie?
I think I will go with Tess and say it's true.
You're saying it's true? David, truth or lie?
It is true.
Yes!
Yes, it's true. David does have a mysterious red switch on the wall of his flat which he's never pressed.
My parents recently forced me to have a new kitchen fitted because my flat embarrassed them.
Lee.
How bad was the kitchen?
It was... I mean, I considered it adequate.
That good. Come back to mine, darling. I've got a very adequate kitchen. How would you describe the old kitchen?
It sort of had plasticky units that some of which I like to make them into personalities.
Hello, Brian. I've had a really lonely day.
Exactly. Brenda, where the pans go.
Hello, Tommy the toaster. Done anything today? No. Ian the iron seems to be getting all the work. So, your parents came round. You feel that the kitchen's not really too bad?
They were sort of very unhappy about it, and ultimately they said, look, we really think you should do with this. We'll deal with the admin if you pay.
But you're a creative mind. I mean, you must have given them a steer as to which way you wanted it to go.
Describe a creative kitchen design steer that you imagine someone like me might have given.
OK, you may have said, I want an island in the middle, I want an Aga and a traditional electric.
I'm not making a planet. An island and a lagoon.
An island.
I want dragons in the north.
What's the new kitchen like?
It's plain. There's sort of, I think, kind of sort of cream units.
Have you been a kitchen salesman once,
What's the most complex thing you do in your kitchen?
I think worry about death.
So what do you think?
What do you think, Nina?
I think he's lying because his eyes go really big when he lies.
He also does that when he's aroused, though, so... What do you think, Charlie?
I think that's got the ring of truth to it. Because I imagine that David probably doesn't really care about his kitchen, but that other people do. Look at him, it's the truth.
OK.
You're going to say true?
Go on, then. We'll say it's true.
True. OK, David, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, true. As a child, I used to play board games against a bucket with a face painted on it. I called this bucket Stephen Tatlock.
Wow, what games did you play?
Monopoly. I played a game called Diplomacy. And...
Even then, you were thinking of becoming a politician.
Yeah. Even then. I'm not a politician.
Why Stephen Tatlock?
Well, it was basically named after a friend of mine. Who was...
Why did you play with Stephen Tatlock? He had no hands.
Stephen Tatlock wasn't always there. But after I painted the face on the bucket, he was.
Did he paint the face on the bucket?
I think my dad painted the face.
Your dad was involved in this sad story? You've decided you haven't got any friends, but lucky day for you is this is Stephen Tatlock.
What can I say? My father saw me talking to a bucket and decided to accept that side of my nature.
Did your father invent Henry Hoovers afterwards?
And this is your girlfriend.
So if you were playing Monopoly, you'd have your go, and then you'd run round and pretend to be Stephen, would you?
I wouldn't pretend to be Stephen, but I found I had to roll for Stephen. And Stephen would need help moving his...
Did Stephen ever win?
Yes.
What do you think, Lee? Is he telling the truth?
What do you think?
I don't know many people who have an imaginary friend with a surname.
He's one of the few. Did you call him Stephen Tatlock or Stephen? Did you say, it's your turn, Stephen Tatlock? You must do it quickly, or otherwise you'll go the way of the other buckets.
Usually I'd call him Stephen.
Oh, you were quite friendly then.
Yeah.
Did Stephen Tatlock know there was an imposter?
Imposter?
I call it the imposter.
No, I never mentioned Stephen Tatlock to Stephen Tatlock.
Did you ever mention the real Stephen Tatlock to the bucket?
I think probably not. No, I think that would have been...
They were blissfully unaware of each other's presence.
Sort of been playing with levels of reality. I don't want you to think that I felt I was in any way being unfaithful to the real Stephen.
Oh, yeah. I'm not picturing this as some sort of romantic film. I can't imagine the real Stephen Tatlock walking in on the game and you go, Stephen!
So what do you think then, Lee? Time for a guess. Truth or lie?
I think it's true.
You think it's true?
I don't know why.
Well, look at David. We know why. What do you think, Holly?
I think... I don't think it's true.
I might ask my friend, Boris Dickey. What do you think, Boris Dickey? Oh, Boris Dickey says no. It's a lie.
So you're saying it's a lie?
Yes.
You and Boris say it's a lie. OK,
Boris
David.
Dickey!
Boris Dickey. David, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Yes, it was a lie. When David was a child, he didn't play board games against a bucket that he called Stephen Tatlock. Yeah.